The Irish government must have known that I was talking horrendously about the Roma Gypsy, because the Irish Times put out a news story today talking about the size of the Roma community. So we're going to break this one down. I have about 4 or 5 different news stories, so stay tuned for that. The very first one is from Dr. Ribena Berry. So it says, the size of the Roma community in Ireland officially recorded for the first time ever. Okay, so the majority of the 16,000 strong population are working and identify as Irish citizens. Okay, now this article obviously is pretty nuanced. Okay, to break this one down, it says majority of 16,000 plus. So 16,000, the majority would only have to be what, 8,000, 9,000 people that are actually working. So, you know, it could be technically 50% aren't doing anything. And to be honest with you guys, you know, this is a propaganda media machine, okay? Because as you know, I've never seen a Roma Gypsy in any employment ever in Ireland. And I've lived here 25 years plus. So I'm not really sure exactly who they're talking about or where they're being employed, but it's a lie, okay? My report that I heard from a loyal source is that 85% have no job and 15% work cash in hand jobs. So there's really no employment rate for the Roma Gypsy, okay? They also cause a lot of damage. You know, they killed Ashley Murphy, the whole family covered it up. I mean, just story after story, it's absolutely crazy. Now, a guy here, it says, Eamon Blaney said, in 60 years, okay, that's almost triple the amount that I've lived in Ireland, I have never met a single Roma that could speak English or have a job. And I agree, guys, none of these people even speak English. I remember I went to the beach recently, okay, everyone knows where I live, okay, the west of Ireland. I went to the beach and I was had my bag sitting down, waiting to for my friends to come out of the beach, come out of the sea. And some Roma Gypsy was like looking at me along with his 2 friends. And I was like, hey, how's it going? You know, just a normal, typical Irish, nothing bad about that whatsoever. Typical Irish, how you getting on? How's it going? How you lads? What's the crack? Just a regular, how's it going? You know? And he just stared at me. And then he started smiling. And I was like, what the hell? And then I said it again. How's it going? You know? Nothing. And I'm looking directly at this guy from about me to you. You know, just very strange. They don't speak English. They don't want to integrate. It's just a bullshit thing to bring these people over. And this is from the EU incentive. This is all done through the EU. I think the EU should be completely disbanded. And, you know, everyone deported that isn't working, okay? Now, here is another story that I came across. It says, a 56-year-old woman evicted from her Cork rental last month says she's terrified of becoming a homeless pensioner. It seems like the elderly, are getting kicked out of their homes in Ireland recently. We had a story today, again, a lady, 88 years old. She was kicked out of her home as well. So absolutely crazy, guys. You know, it's really horrendous to see these elderly people. And these are government incentives to get them kicked out of their homes. So crazy stuff.
Lindy Meldon is retired and had been renting a 2-bed home for more than 5 years. Last November, she was served a notice to quit after her landlord decided to sell the property.
Jeez.
Looking for places to live and realising that there's actually absolutely nothing there within my price range. So the last few months were horrible, even just thinking about it.
Lindy had hoped the local council would buy the house under the tenant in situ scheme.
I was told quite curtly that we're not buying that house, you'll have to go back to the city for your housing needs. And that was it.
And if you're on a city waiting list, a county council house, you could be waiting up to 10 years for a house. You could be waiting for forever for that house.
I was just like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I spent days just crying my eyes out. I've never reacted to anything like that before. Do you know? And I've had some tough times, but this was just horrendous. Do you know?
Is it because you're frightened, Lindy, of what's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm terrified that I won't get housed and I'll end up, the thoughts of being in B&B for 6 or 9 or whatever, 12 months, I just couldn't do it. So I'd prefer to be sleeping on couches than taking the emergency accommodation, you know.
So are you going?
Yeah, super demeaning, guys. I mean, there's story after story of these certain things. You know, it's absolutely crazy, guys. The next news story is in relation to the LGB Pride Month that we have in Ireland. Hopefully, is getting defunded by Donald Trump, and Elon Musk, the USAID. It was great to see the massive defunding effort that they have. But today we have a story from a lady. It says, heroic Irish teacher whistleblower speaks out against a woke education curriculum that's being indoctrinated into Irish kids, which it absolutely is happening, guys. You know, they have drag time story hour. They have all these different LGB trans stuff in their curriculum. Very, very strange. This is confirmed fact by the mainstream. You can go and Google these books. Okay, so let's see what she says. So this is a primary source. This is directly from a teacher.
Hello, my name is Cheryl and I am a primary school teacher, and I am shocked and appalled to see the content that is being pushed within our schools at the moment in regard to the RSE programme. I urge every parent, every teacher and every principal to band together to inform yourself as to what this content is. Have a look at the NCCA website, have a look at what the INTO are recommending and advising our teachers to teach.
I mean, it's demonic, it's satanic, you know, and it's done on purpose, guys. This is to destroy Christianity. It's a Marxist ploy, you know, this is a Marxist sort of task. And fair play to all these professionals speaking out. You know, fair play, all these professionals need to speak out more and more. You know, we saw that school teacher speaking out. We need a bunch of people speaking out in this country. Not just the people, you know, that are from working class and middle class areas. We need everyone, professionals, we need everybody speaking out.
Have a look at the books that they are recommending for our children to read. It is so inappropriate. Children only have one chance at a childhood, and teaching and learning should just be based predominantly around the Mary Montessori ethos of teaching and learning.
Yeah, they're trying to take that away from people, you know, they're trying to take that away from people. And it's horrendous to see. Like, even look at this, guys. You know, we're talking about the trans ideology. Eddie Hobbs put this up. This is new to my attention. If you go on the revenue.ie webpage, which is to pay your taxes, okay, which I'm very used to going on, it says that they have the trans flag, the LGBT flag up on the actual website. And I said, there is no way that that is actually true. That's got to be some right-wing, you know, propaganda that's, you know, purported by all these right-wing fascists, Hitler kind of people. So I said, okay, well, let me just find out for myself. Check this out, guys. I said, okay, I'm going to go on the webpage and I'm going to check out revenue.ie, okay? Very, very used to seeing what's on revenue. Okay, you pay your taxes every year. Boom. I hopped on the webpage and the entire the entire first page is that. Okay, let me do a little scroll out of the entire page. This is the opening first page. When you come on the opening page of revenue, this is just the opening home page. That's what you're greeted with. Like, what the hell? What is happening to Ireland? This is just the most odd shit I've ever seen in my life, guys. And then, of course, you know, Hungary banned the Pride protests, which, good job. You know, it's great that to see that they're banning this woke bullshit. And of course, a Ireland South EMP to join the protest for Pride in Hungary tomorrow. Okay, we have the most woke people ever in Ireland. Okay, Cynthia Niemerku says the decision goes against the values of the European Union, and yeah, they're saying Hungary, you know, is not allowed to do this and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, it's just promoting bullshit to kids. To be perfectly honest, guys, I don't really think this has any sort of idea or anything to do with, you know, gay rights, because gay rights have been solved. They're completely 100%. They're 100% fully incorporated into Irish society. There needs to be no more rights or anything. Last story we have today, guys, is a funny one. We have the absolute retardo Joe Duffy with his last show ever today. Thank the Lord. Thank you, Lord. These people, after 37 years of spreading propaganda and bullshit brainwashing, his last show, guys. Let's hear one of the archives to mark his retirement. Okay, let's hear it.
The moment you came on this programme, Councillor Traynor, 10 minutes ago, you've done nothing but abuse me, abuse RTE, abuse everyone else under the sun, abuse Nigerians, abuse pregnant women. Say that, to actually say, for you as an elected representative to say that, to make a joke about a pregnant woman having a canary is an insult.
Talk to Joe.
Councillor Seamus Traynor is in Monaghan and has contacted us about the debate. Seamus, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
What did you think of what you were hearing?
Well, it's actually the bias by RTE on the migrant issue. Like, you are actually in favour of an open door policy, and I actually listened to you there on Tuesday, and you give preferential treatment to anyone that was a supporter of an open door policy, while John from Sligo had an opposing view, and I thought he'd give a very measured view, but you attacked him straight away.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Now, if you take it, RT is totally out of tune with the actual public opinion.
Okay, so what is your opinion?
Well, my opinion is, if there was a referendum, we all remember the famous, where they get woman from Nigeria here, Tim said a child killed in Nigeria, and she fought every court. She cost us millions of euros here. She fought it to the Supreme Court. She then lost it there and she went to Europe. She lost again and eventually was deported. You see, people find this here, 90% of the people that found in these direct provision centres were bogus.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Anyone coming with like refugee status, it's all bullshit. I talked to my barber. He's from like Morocco or something shit. He came here like 30 years ago. He said, refugee status, that's bullshit, guys. You know, this is all nonsense. This is just people that are trying to be illegal and trying to scam systems. Plain and simple. And Joe Duffy with his bullshit open borders policy is going to get us all killed. Because look what happened to Ashley Murphy. Look what happened to those two guys up in Sligo. The two homosexual fellas. They got killed. Okay? Beheaded. Insane.
Asylum seekers. And they were actually, any court they went to, they were given the order to be deported. But unfortunately, they appealed again, and this was actually encouraging more people to come in.
Absolutely ridiculous, guys. So let me know what you think about those news stories. That's again, we're on the 28th. The 28th of June, near the end of June. It's crazy. The news stories get crazier and crazier. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one, guys. Peace.